Welcome everyone to episode 1 of The Main. My name is Tito KMF, member of the VG Bootcamp. I'm a community manager and social media guy for VG Bootcamp. This is a brand new show that we're doing with all these characters in Ultimate. I felt the need to really talk to every character specialist I could, so we're going to get into what exactly this show is in a second. But for those of you who may or may not experiencing frame drops on the live portion, because the show is recorded live, please bear with me. There's internet problems happening in my area that are outside of my control. But regardless, this will be available up on YouTube by the end, within 48 hours of recording. So that's all that. So this is basically what we do here on The Main. The Main is a very brief interview slash tutorial where I talk to some of the very talented players in the Smash community. We're gonna try theoretically to get every character. So how many? Inevitably, how many episodes there will be? 74 at the moment. We're trying to get everybody, and we'll talk to character specialists about their character. We'll interview them a little bit about kind of how the character speaks to them, why they picked that character, or whatever. And then we'll talk mini tutorial about like do's and don'ts, matchups, stages, and then we'll answer some viewer questions. So it's going to be a good time, but obviously I'm a little bit biased on this show. We had to start with the character that I've been maining for a very long time, which is Wario, and there's not another Wario that I would rather be talking to than my guest today, which is Reflex, one of the OG Warios. How's it going, man?
Hey, glad to be here. It's been a good time.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a fantastic time. So if any of you guys in the chat want to go ahead and ask some questions to Reflex about the Wario or anytime, we'll be answering those at the end, but make sure to use the hashtag The Main on Twitter, and I will be looking at those as the show progresses. But let's get into it. The interview portion of the show, the first half, talk to me, and I actually have, which I believe is Apex 2013 footage up here on the stream, where you were playing WMS in a Wario Ditto back in Brawl, which is 5 years ago. Now that we're thinking about it, which is crazy to me now that I think about it. Why do you play Wario?
Okay, well, I feel like there's some aesthetic reasons, and we've got the mechanical reasons. We'll go with the mechanical reasons first because a lot of people want to play a character that they enjoy in game.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I really like about the characters that I play throughout the series is something that two big things that appeal to me. One, obviously, in Smash, most of the time when you're in the air, like if you're above the opponent, that's not a safe place to be. To ease that feeling, I guess, I really enjoy a character that makes me feel relatively safe in the air. That I feel like I can move around in the air almost as well as I can in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And with the crazy aerial mobility Wario has, I feel right at home with that. Another big part of that too is I enjoy characters that are capable of turning a game around with a single good read. And obviously, with his down B, Wario oft killing, at absurdly low percents, you make a good read, you can turn you can be patient, you can afford to take your time because all it takes is one good outsmarting to turn the tides, and I really enjoyed that as a character. But I also really enjoy most of the various Wario games that are out. Big fan of Wario Land. Like Wario Land 3 was a big part of my childhood. The GBA WarioWare is one of my favorite games of all time. I really enjoy the high score aspect of a lot of games, and WarioWare has that in spades. So it just all around enjoying those aspects of the character.
Yeah, I think that it's important for people. I think that most players, this isn't the case for a lot of players, but for most players who are at the upper echelon of any competitive game, connect with the character that they play on some level in conjunction with them being good. Like, I think that, like, for example, Esam really likes Pikachu, and I think that even if Pikachu wasn't like one of the most, it seems to be one of the best characters in the game, I think he would still play Pikachu and Samus because he just loves, those characters and the way they play. They fit.
For sure.
So I think that, I've heard you talk about this a couple of times, and I think that, it really resonates with me because Wario Land 3 and Wario Land 4 were really big for me. So I just really love that kind of aesthetic. Do you have any because again, we're going all the way back to Apex 2013 is when you've been playing this character. You've basically been playing this character since like this. You've been able to play this character.
Right.
Do you have a favorite version of Wario? I know Ultimate just came out, and it's a little early for that, but just initial. Is it Brawl? Is it PM? What do you have a favorite version?
Well, they've all got some neat stuff behind them that, like, even if with Smash 4, Wario is a relatively weak character, like compared to the cast as a whole.
Right.
But despite a lot of people having laments over his fall from grace because he was a good character in Brawl, even the Smash 4 iteration added some cool stuff, which carries over into this one. If I had to pick any one, it would probably be Brawl, and not for the reasons that you might expect. Like a lot of people think, oh well, his aerial mobility was so much better, and that's true. It was kind of obnoxious, really.
Yeah.
Fun fact: the Wario Man airspeed is the same as Brawl Wario, which is three times higher than the next fastest character.
Yeah.
But like one thing about Brawl Wario was that he had a lot of small individual hits that were not immediately obviously good at first. Like for example, maybe against a character like Falco, you could jab one into half waft at certain percents, like things they would never expect to like link together.
Yeah.
His Nair was much more reliable in terms of like combo potential. I really like the dynamic in his down B in that game. Was that his full waft did crazy damage. I think it was like 42%.
Yeah, it was insane.
But it didn't send anybody anywhere. Whereas the half waft had obscene knockback potential, but she didn't get much damage. But there was like a race against time to land half waft because if you wanted to kill, that's what you did.
Right.
Unlike Smash 4 and Ultimate, where it's like, oh well, full waft is the strongest anyway, like damage knockback wise, as far as killing. There's no rush for me to do it, but I liked the dynamic behind, like, there's a reason you want to get it early. So, like, it's kind of a cat and mouse game that's not entirely a Wario, that's just kind of camping for it.
Right.
But they're all pretty neat. They've all got stuff, and there's not a whole lot of data on Wario yet. This game's so early for the Ultimate. But for even now, just, like, some of his buffs are very obvious. And there's stuff to like about all of them. And fun fact, I was one of the main devs for Project M Wario.
Right.
So I was one of the ones who helped with that. So I have a soft spot for that as well. There was a lot of Wario Land flavor in that moveset. And I really liked the like 50-50 style momentum of his combos. Like there were 50-50 strings that you kept with momentum rather than a lot of the very, I don't want to say simple, but like more direct combos, I guess, from other characters. Whereas he was trying to guess right against his opponent a lot of times, and he was a very strong character in that too. But I guess the answer to your question is Brawl, but they're all fun.
Yeah, they're
Wario's
definitely
a fun character throughout the series.
Yeah. Do you because the thing about Wario that I really enjoy playing is the character has the potential for a lot of mix-ups where you wouldn't think a character like that would. Like, big bodies don't have mix-ups like that, especially when they approach. Like, you can approach with Nair, forward air, or command grab, which is the bite, which got in a pretty obvious... You were talking about these obvious buffs. Bite got an obvious buff in this game. For those of you who don't know, bite in this game not only actually ends up picking up stocks later on, which it never used to do, like not even close, but also heals. How do you think that... Because people would obviously use bite... for mix-up potential, for approaching as well, for catching normal get-up as well, back in Smash 4. But how do you think that move in particular is going to change, given the fact that it's changed, the actual move has changed dramatically coming into Ultimate? Do you think people are going to use it the same, or do you think they're going to have to use it differently?
Well, honestly, a lot of the kill potential part of it somewhat overlaps with the old Smash 4 forward throw. That said, even though his forward throw in Smash 4 was the second strongest in the game, none of the forward throws really killed unless you were like max rage and they were like 150 plus. But in this one, or in Ultimate, it seems like the base knockback is very high. So like if you're at high percents, you're going to be like outright killing people at like 130, 140
Right.
at like perfectly reasonable percent. But you're going to be using it in similar ways. That said, like the one thing that was kind of frustrating about Wario in previous games is that you didn't really get a lot of reward for landing bite. Like, I mean, obviously it's a good mix-up. You get some stage control and you do a little bit of damage, but they just go back to neutral and that was that. You know, they mash out for 9, maybe 11% altogether. But in this one, because you push them out a good bit, it really exacerbates the greater potential that every character has in edge guarding potential right now, because you can't just air dodge up to the up B to the stage anymore. Like Wario has the potential, was in my opinion a very strong edge guarding game.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the added knockback, even on the weaker ones, I think that trying to get people off stage with that is going to be pretty important for him closing out stocks, getting low percent gimps. You want to it's using it in similar ways, but there's a lot more incentive to do it because of the healing and because of the greater knockback. Edge guarding is going to be really important for his game as a whole, and getting them off stage is where to do it. And a move that just straight up bypasses shields is a good way to do it.
Yeah. So I know we already talked about it, but you would say your favorite Wario game is Wario Land 3? Is that what you said?
Well, of the Wario Land series, I would say it's probably 3.
Okay.
I'm a little biased because that's what I grew up with.
Right.
Altogether, probably the GBA WarioWare. Okay. Actually, I really like the WarioWare series. It's one of my favorite things to go through. Again, I really like the high score aspect of it, like quick reactions to these games. And there's just a certain kind of charm with that. Because like the like art style and stuff changes over the different series, and they add cool characters, but there's just, I don't know, something about the GBA one, and by extension they had the multiplayer GameCube one that nobody will play with me, but it's just really fun. It's hard to say. I feel like I used to play it all the time. I had triple digit scores in all the different like settings for games and stuff, but this is so much fun with it.
Yeah. So as we are getting into, again, if you guys have questions for Reflex, specifically want to ask him any matchups, stuff like that, please do not hesitate to use the hashtag #TheMain on Twitter. I will be checking that frequently throughout the show. Again, this is kind of like a bite-sized show. It's about 25 to 30 minutes long. And then it's just something, if you want to pick up the character, it's here to inform. That's really what it is. So speaking of inform, let's go ahead and move over to what we have here, which is we're gonna do a little bit of a tutorial here. And we're just going to show you, for those of you who ever want to learn how to play Wario, some tips and tricks, some cool things that you may or may not be aware of. So Reflex, let's say I don't know how to play Wario and I just picked him. Where would I start? What things would I be looking for?
Sure. Well, first things first, if you have played Smash Brothers in general, something you want to understand is that Wario is a character that plays pretty differently from a lot of different characters. A lot of his moves don't have a whole lot of power behind it. A lot of his moves aren't like traditionally safe on shield. Like this poke, his main poke, he's got his down tilt, but like that's 5 damage. Like doesn't like lead into a whole bunch. But what you need to understand is that Wario's air mobility, like the way I'm able to just trip left and right, is like unmatched. The combination of his speed and his ability to change direction. He's got a couple characters that are faster than him overall, like Yoshi and Jigglypuff, but like the ability to just drift left and right, that's something that's just incredible for him. And what we're gonna do with that, what that means is a lot of your pokes and your approaches and your defenses are going to revolve around that superior mobility, because he's not even that fast on the ground. Like he's below average speed. It's workable, but like it's not something you want to rely on too much. But like as far as spacing is concerned, some of the main options you've got there, your forward air and your back air, if you do a short hop from the ground, they auto cancel, which means that you're not stuck on the ground. Like if I do this here, I'm stuck on the ground for a little bit before I can shield or whatever. But you can do the short hop version. You can poke somebody and then retreat, so that even if they're even if they power shield, that kind of thing, oftentimes they're not able to catch you in time because you have the flexibility to do as you please. On the flip side, because you move so quickly, if you know you're gonna land a move, say like I shield a move and I want to punish. A lot of times you can do that with forward air. It's fast. You cover a good distance with it, and because you move so quickly, you're able to continue moving with it. So like I hit him and then I follow up. Like, I mean, obviously that's not a true combo,
right.
But like the idea is, if you know that you are able to get the hit, you're able to follow up in midair in ways that a lot of characters can't. A lot of people have to land on the ground and then run back up to them or do a move to increase their speed. But Wario's speed's so good that it's a lot of hit and run, basically. So he's got that. Back air is his big range move, and it's got some good kill power. So basic combo stuff. Wario doesn't have a lot of combos, but the options that he does have for that are pretty potent. So we've got his neutral air is his fastest aerial. Frame 4 compared to like frame 5 forward air, which is still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it hits twice. So he hits once while he's spinning, and then like after the spin, he has a second hit basically. First hit sends him sideways, second hit sends him upward. And if they're at low percents, actually, if they're at low percents, what you can do is you can combo off of that relatively easily. So like, depending on how you hit that, well, sorry, Wi-Fi I'm not used to, but like you can do that, you can do it into another one, you can go straight into up air, but like you can airplane this move. In Smash 4, it was like had a comically bad, it only hit for a single frame and then was inactive for 10 frames. They made it so that it lingers for a great deal of time. So like you can do it and not worry like, oh no, I missed the first hit, now he can just hit me. And again, because it lingers and because of your crazy mobility, like you can often just stick this out, and like if someone tries to run into you, like they'll often like they have to worry about that lingering hitbox, because he's got his hands out, he's gonna be doing decent stuff. And if you catch somebody on the way down, even just a single hit, you can often follow them. So like at low percents, this is kind of a go-to. And on the ground, you've got a couple of moves that you're gonna lean on. So we've got down tilt. Down tilt is frame 5, and it's the speed overall, like the speed between that and the end hit, is almost identical to Diddy down tilt.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
It's very fast. Like it's a low risk, low reward option. But as far as like staying safe on shield, a lot of your other options are a little slow or a little unsafe. But this move is the way to do it. Like, well, not that. Like the down tilt gives you slight frame advantage. So like, oh, here's another cool thing. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get too in depth with it, but there's a lot of like little frame traps that you can do. Like for example, if your down tilt gets shielded, I'm gonna try, like, I want you to shield my down tilt and try and what's the word? Shield grab me. Shield grab me. Yeah. Okay. So, well,
yeah,
it's fine.
It's a little harder on.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. There we go.
So every character in the game, if they try and buffer a power, like that, you will spot dodge it, like bar none. And if you have a half waft or an up B, like I'll try that one more time here. Guaranteed. And you can do spot dodge into half waft, because people obviously, like, they see Wario right next to them, they want to do something about that.
Oh, I did it.
Well,
late.
you did it late, but but like if they reflexively do it, like, just easiest thing in the world. It's and that's there are like 3 characters that can. It's like Pichu, Kirby, and Jigglypuff. But like down tilt is so safe because you can see like, oh, I hit him. Let me try and do more to them. Oh, I got shielded. You can try the spot dodge. You can try and move away. But in general, this is your bread and butter for poking, because like even if you don't get anything immediately, you can down tilt into to like stop people from doing their. Your ground move is not so great, but you can just stick this out and stop somebody, ruin the rhythm, and then go back into your normal pokes. A couple other things. Up tilt is one of the moves that got really buffed. Comes out faster than Smash 4. His hands are actually invincible, or like intangible. They can't be hit. So it's a very reliable anti-air. Like if Bowser bombs the edge or whatever, like tries to do that, you can just beat him. That's the thing you can do. But so that it's very reliable, and it's actually quite a good combo move. Like at low percents, well, then it wouldn't be 6, but like that's fine. But like, well, I'm sorry, Wi-Fi's still.
Yeah.
But like,
they get the idea.
Yeah, and even at mid percents, like at 60-70%, like you can up tilt to half waft. Like that, it's easy, like a very easy combo. That's like a kill combo. Like if they jump into you, it's reliable. Mm-hmm. And that's honestly most of his bread and butter stuff in spacing. Yeah. But your goal as Wario is going to be to try and get them off stage, because again, with your superior air mobility and your good movement in general, you have a very good tools to try and deal with people who are off stage. So you can knock them off. Your forward air is a lingering hitbox. Your neutral air is a lingering hitbox. They have to fear your back air, which has kill potential. Mm-hmm. You have to fear your waft, which kills at stupid percents when they're off stage. Like they can't just air dodge through that because it's Smash Ultimate. So, and you're able to go deep because with Bike, you have so much like flexibility. Oh, that's another thing that's very important when you want to do Bike, so that you're able to recover. Yeah. One thing you do when you're doing the air, you can tilt it like up or down here, right? The way you tilt it affects how you jump off of it. So like if you hold back and tilt it so that the front comes up, well, I guess let me do the regular jump. So normally if you just do the regular jump, you go at like a 45-degree angle, just like diagonal there. But if you lean it forward, you go much more forward. So it's like a 25-degree angle, so you don't get as much height, but you get more forward distance. And that could be useful if you do it in the air and you hit somebody, you can follow up a little better. But most importantly for this situation, you can do it so that you get extra height, which allows you to go really far and do that and still make it. A lot of people won't think about it, or they'll hold forward because they're already holding forward with forward B. They'll get the short jump and then won't be able to make it back. So it's very important to keep in mind, just don't panic. Forward B, lean back, jump off the bike. But like I said, you get people off stage. Your down air is a good kill move. Lingers. Your forward air isn't a super good kill move, but it lingers and you have a lot of control. Like they can't just pass through you or like mix you up that well because it's relatively fast and it stays out. You want reliable hitboxes when you're going out with somebody. This hits for like 20 frames. Something like, no, it's more like it's double digits. Yeah. But like it stays out for a while and it can hurt people. Like it has good kill potential. Again, like even if you get like a late forward air kind of hit, you can combo that into waft in certain situations. And in the air, I guess I didn't talk too much about his juggling, because that's also another big part of his like airspeed, like his air mobility. Mm-hmm. If you get them in the air, like you can do an up throw, that's actually a true combo from low to mid percent. Up throw, up air, which is good. And after that, especially if you manage to take their jump, like a lot of times people will try and jump and you'll be able to catch them with up air. That's good damage by itself, but then they have to come down against a character with crazy air mobility. You've got the ability to chase them on the ground. You've got a really nice anti-air and in your up air or your up tilt. Your up air is disjointed and does good damage. Low landing lag. So like your job is to put them in the air either above you or off stage and then bully them, because most characters don't have very many tools when they're put in the air compared to on the ground. But all of Wario, like most of Wario's good tools are in the air. So like you put them in your element, you just bully them with up air, up tilt, maybe run after them to get a grab, throw them back up, that sort of thing. And I know a lot of people want to just go nuts. They want to go in and do the nair plane stuff. But like, you have to be patient. You have to do a lot of individual pokes with like down tilt. Maybe get the occasional grab. But like, your overall goal is to put them in the air. And you don't have like super commanding presence in neutral with your below average speed and everything. So a lot of times you're trying to throw off the opponent's rhythm with like a down tilt, and then, you know, if you down tilt them, they're not able to just run away, that sort of thing. You can take advantage of the situation. And another thing that's important is that it's good to be patient as Wario, because your down B, I don't know if you don't know anything about Wario, charges over time. It's his Wario waft, just as a big fart. And that's based on the time. So like if you start an 8-minute time match, it takes 50 seconds for Wario to get his waft to a killing power. Like half waft is what's referred to as in the community. And you have nothing, like you're not losing anything just sitting here. If they don't want to approach you, if a zoner tries to deal with you, or you get like, you know, Marth is out here forward airing, just trying to keep your space out, you can just hang out on the platform. You can just wait. They have to come to you, because otherwise you get like every 2 minutes, actually less than that, because half waft is pretty powerful too. Like, you're gonna get a kill move that kills at 50-60%, and like they don't want that. Like, the longer this drags on, the worse they have it. So like, don't be afraid to just wait. Sometimes, you know, Wario kind of struggles at approaching because he doesn't have a lot of super safe, super threatening moves on the ground. But like, that's all the more reason to just wait. Do retreating back air, poke and retreat, because eventually you'll get that waft and you can tilt them when they die at 50, that sort of thing. You're also very heavy. You can take a beating. So it's important to keep in mind, you got all day. Your aim is to land your few good kill moves, or put them in the air so that you can do death of 1,000 cuts. And I guess a couple other things to go over. Like we talked about, his chomp is very good. Obviously grabs beat shields in general. His chomp is frame 8, which is about the same speed as your average grab in this game. It heals Wario. Actually, I guess you can't tell because you don't have any damage. But like every chomp you do heals him for 0.6. Which is small in the grand scheme of things, but every little helps, and it sends them a good way. So like I mentioned with all of his other stuff, like his down tilt, his back air, his forward air, that all can be defended against pretty easily by shielding, moving away. But if they like to shield, if they try and shield and punish, you can get them with this all day. Like if you run up and do it, like with a jump, you actually go a pretty decent bit, like distance. Ugh. So like, don't be afraid to catch them sometimes. But in general, it's just a good move. But long story short, be patient. You want to buzz around like a fly. Go back and forth, try and misdirect them. Put them in the air and make sure they stay there until they die.
Yeah. So let's talk about as we get towards the end here. And thank you for your time in the first episode. Let's talk about some matchup stuff and some stages stuff, do's and don'ts. Just real quickly, off the top of your head, I know it's still early, but
Sure.
First things first, how good do you think Wario is? Because there's a lot of tier lists out right now that rank him at a certain level. So how do you think? Initial reactions, how good is Wario? Is he better than Smash 4? Is he worse? Is he... What do you think?
Okay, so initial reactions, This character is definitely better than Smash 4, but that's not really a high bar to clear. Wario really struggled dealing damage. He's got some decent damage in comparison to Smash 4, but a lot of other characters combo like they've got a lot of quality of life improvements too. And I feel like overall Wario still kind of struggles in the like damage per successful exchange, I guess, between like for the average character, which is kind of difficult for him. I feel like there are certain aspects of his game that are going to develop over time. I guess as people get better, more familiar with the game, people will be able to make the reads against air dodges better. They'll have a better idea of what hitboxes beat what. But altogether, from what I understand about the game overall, without getting too far into like theory crafting about like, well, what if he gets really good at power shielding and like different stuff like that. I would probably say I feel comfortable saying Wario's probably middle of the road. There are a lot of characters that seem like noticeably strong that I would say that are pretty confidently say that they're Wario is not as good as them. But like I think with the potential he's got, the general flexibility he has moving around, and his potential for big game-ending thwomps with something as simple as like a power shield into like waft or like decent waft setups, which he has. I think he holds his own. I would say a solid mid tier right now.
Solid mid tier. So, if I and this is the shouts to Unknown for this little segment. If I say I want to go to a tournament, you don't know who's there, you don't know any at all how many people are there, and I say I'm going to play Wario. Is that a pick or don't pick? Do you play Wario or not play Wario?
Are we talking
if I want to win?
Like if you want to win right now, I think that he is functional, but I think that as far as one of Wario's greater strengths overall as a character, I think for the longest time, even in Smash 4 when he was weaker, is that a lot of people don't really understand how he works. And that's true even in this game, but right now nobody knows anything about any character. So I feel like there's a lot of matchup inexperience that it's not like special for Wario to do that specifically. And I will also say that from my understanding of the character, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked out as far as he's got a lot of potential in knowing like his frame advantage for like down tilt, whether a character is put on the ground afterwards versus if they always land. There's a lot of like minutiae that I feel like will go into making Wario worthwhile. And I would say that for a beginner player, you should probably. I hope you like taking notes. I hope you're really invested in the character because he can do stuff even in general just with the keep away. But I feel like his potential is really going to be unlocked when we start seeing people do power shield setups. When we start getting strong reads, like the psychology behind the air dodge, like figuring out how to maximize that sort of thing. And so you could do it, but I feel like if you're like pound for pound, if you're just going to an event to try and learn a new character, you're probably not going to do super great as Wario right off the bat, but I feel like it's rewarding to land your good stuff, and if you put in the time, I think that he's worthwhile.
All right. And last couple of things, stages you like, characters you think that are inherently bad matchups. I think that a lot of the characters that he struggled with in Smash 4, he also still struggles with. I think Wario is one of those characters that he just, by the nature of the way the character works, like in the way the character is designed in his kit, he struggles with some characters that he's just always going to struggle with.
Yeah, I would generally agree. Yeah. Like for example, Wario has stubby limbs. He generally has trouble with characters who can, keep him out for a good bit. Like whether that's just a sword or like a lot of projectiles. One thing that I guess he has going for him as far as like projectile spam is with his superior air mobility, he can actually jump around a lot of it. And if time's wasting, then you're going to get waft. But you can really get bullied by these characters with long range. And if they've got like superior hitboxes, a lot of times they can just kind of bully you that way too. He used to struggle a decent bit with characters who could pressure him, but I feel like He's got some better tools for keeping people off, and is definitely better at punishing people when they do make a mistake in that scenario when they come in. So I'm not too much worried about that as much as I am the general range issue. If anybody who can keep him out of neutral can usually bully him pretty hard. I don't know. I know you mentioned the stages bit. My philosophy as Wario for stages, um, generally speaking, if you have a good understanding of what the opponent is good against, or like what the opponent likes to have, what they don't like, um, Wario is pretty solid on most stages because he's very good in the air. He has perfectly passable defense on the ground. I feel like the couple of things you like the general philosophy is, what is the opponent good at? Let me take that away from them. So like if they've got really good vertical kill moves, maybe strike the stages where that have low ceiling, that kind of thing. If they're really good with platforms, get rid of the platforms, that sort of thing. Because Wario functions pretty well with or without platforms, and so I think you're better served figuring out what the opponent doesn't like rather than what you like. But if all else fails, if they're just a well-rounded character too, or you just want to know like, what do I have to turn? If I could turn my brain off and pick a stage, definitely a stage where you could camp. I've been having a lot of success with Town and City. Town and City has a much higher ceiling than it did in Smash 4. Wario has very few reliable vertical kill moves, so like that doesn't matter to him that that's a high ceiling. In fact, because he's a bit, he's heavy, it helps him survive longer. But the platforms being where they are can really help you stalemate the time, like pass the time in order to get waft. And I think that's really good for him. Any stage that allows you to just say it seems we are at an impasse really helps with bringing out your X factor in that waft. So those are my my main points as far as figuring out what stages you want to go.
All right, and I think we, in the course of our conversation, have answered all the Twitter questions. So, is there anything else that you want to say about the character? What's the next event we could see you at? That's also a great question. What's the next event we could see?
Well, I was thinking about going
You
to...
want a glitch?
I am indeed going to glitch.
Hey!
I'm very happy to say. And I'm actually going as the premier Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting flown out for that.
Yeah, you are.
And I've got a pocket one, but I haven't played enough to feel super confident in that. So you might see more Wario than PT, but we'll see what happens by then. But if you want to catch me very soon, there's a tournament in Marietta, Georgia going to Smash at the Mountain that is this weekend. And if you want to see me at something big, I've got plans to go to Kumite in Tennessee.
Okay,
which
KFC,
is yeah. And we'll have a lot of good names there. I know the guys that run it are really swell. Good production value. And I feel like I could I'll really be able to put on a show there. I feel like I'll shaken off my rust from Smash 4 and hopefully get a good time there. As far as the character's concerned, I've had some mixed feelings on the transition. There are certain moves that I feel like I excelled with that got changed in ways that I really miss. I know this is weird to say. I miss his Smash 4 Nair in certain ways.
Yeah.
But that's the point. But as far as this character's concerned, I've got a lot of good ideas that I want to pursue. That I've got notes in the Wario Discord. By the way, that's the thing I want to plug here. If you have any interest in learning this character, we've got a community of people who are smart, willing, very glad to help. We've got, again, my secret Wario notes kind of thing. You'll get plenty of good advice, and you'll have plenty of homework because this character is all about that right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think he's loads of fun. And I mean, if you have any interest in learning about the game or learning about the character, even if it's as how to play against him once I inevitably put Wario to the top tier, a year from now, we'll be happy to help you. And my Twitter's there too. I answer questions all the time. I'm happy to help out with all sorts of stuff. Hit up your favorite Smash scientist out here.
Absolutely. Well, Reflex, thank you for taking the time to do this with me. I really appreciate it. If you guys, again, the Twitter will be in the description for those on YouTube. It is in the chat for those who are watching it live. For anybody here that wants to learn anything about Wario or Pokemon Trainer, go ahead and hit up at the Reflex Wonder on Twitter. Really, really great guy. The Wario Discord is one of the absolute best Discords I'm in right now. I'm learning so much from that, so it has my endorsement. And like he said, Glitch, KIT, he's expected to do big things. So Reflex, thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, man, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me. I was glad to be here.
No problem. And guys, thank you so much for watching episode 1 of the main. In the comment section, if you're watching on YouTube, let us know what character you want us to do next. I think right now I've slated Wolf, which I think is going to be with Seagull Joe. I think we're doing Game & Watch with obviously Gimmer as well. So we got some things lined up. If there's any character specifically that you want to talk about, go ahead and hit that link in the description and hit the comments as well. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys later.
For sure.